In the 2nd century AD, a man named Marcion arrived in Rome, carrying with him a radical vision that would shake the foundations of early Christianity. Who was this enigmatic figure? A heretic, a reformer, or a man so convinced of his truth that he dared to challenge the very fabric of the faith? Marcion was no ordinary believer. Born in Sinope, a bustling port city in Pontus, he was a wealthy shipowner, a man of means and influence. But his wealth was not his legacy. It was his ideas so controversial that they would earn him the title of the most infamous heretic of his time. Marcion believed that the God of the Jewish scriptures, the Creator God, was not the same as the God revealed by Jesus. To him, the Creator was a God of law, judgment, and imperfection. But Jesus came from a higher, unknown God, a God of love, grace, and redemption. This radical dichotomy led Marcion to reject the Old Testament entirely and to create his own canon of Scripture, a purified version of the Gospel of Luke and 10 letters of Paul. Marcion taught that the God of the Old Testament was a God of war and vengeance, but the God of Jesus was a God of peace and mercy. How can these two be the same? He asked. They cannot. The gospel is not a continuation of the law. It is its abolition. Marcion's teachings were met with fierce opposition. Church fathers like Tertullian and Irenaeus saw him as a threat to the unity of the faith. They accused him of distorting scripture, of dividing the one true God into two, and of leading believers astray. But Marcion was undeterred. He founded his own churches, spreading his message across the Mediterranean. Marcion's movement was no small sect. By the mid-2nd century, Marcionite churches could be found from Asia Minor to North Africa. Justin Martyr lamented that Marcion's teachings had spread to the whole human race. His churches were well organized, with their own liturgy, leadership, and even ascetic practices. Marcionites abstained from marriage and procreation, seeing them as commands of the Creator God, not the God of Jesus. Marcion's antithesis was his magnum opus, a work that juxtaposed the harshness of the Creator God with the love of Jesus. The Creator says, "Love those who love you and hate your enemy," Marcion wrote. But Christ says, "Love your enemies." For Marcion, these contradictions were proof that the two gods could not be reconciled. Marcion's ideas sparked intense debates. Orthodox Christians accused him of denying the very scriptures that testified to Christ. But Marcion stood firm, arguing that the prophets spoke of a different God, a God of law and judgment. Jesus, he believed, came to reveal a new God, one who offers salvation apart from the law. The old must give way to the new, he declared. Despite his success, Marcion's movement would not endure. By the 5th century, Marcionism had largely faded, its teachings absorbed or rejected by the broader Christian tradition. Yet, Marcion's legacy remains. He forced the early church to confront difficult questions. What is the relationship between the Old and New Testaments? Who is the true God of Jesus? And how should Christians interpret the scriptures? Marcion was a heretic, yes, but he was also a catalyst. His radical ideas pushed the early church to define its canon, clarify its theology, and defend its unity. In challenging the status quo, Marcion reminded us that faith is not static. It is a journey, a struggle, and at times, a battle for truth. Marcion's story is a reminder that even those who are deemed heretics can shape the course of history. In his defiance, he left an indelible mark on Christianity, a mark that continues to provoke, challenge, and inspire. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the life and legacy of Marcion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history, theology, and the stories that shaped our world.